Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel. I am your host, Chris Lee, joined by Graham Doty. Today, we will be talking about the weekend of SEC baseball. You can get all kinds of odds on these games over at FanDuel. Last I checked, LSU, I think, was still the betting favorite among SEC teams at FanDuel, around plus 600. I'll get to see the Tigers in person this weekend in Nashville. We will talk about that series, and we will talk about much more. But first, Graham, we will talk about our sponsor, HOMEFIELD Apparel, which makes this beautiful, beautiful sweatshirt that I'm wearing today. And I was worried sick that it had been lifted from my porch, but my day was made when my daughter found my HOMEFIELD Apparel stuff in the mail. All is well with the world, and we can continue on. But, man, I love this thing. It is cold here in Nashville. Took Oreo on a walk this morning in this beauty, and I stayed safe from the cold and the wind and felt good doing it.
Yeah, look good, feel good. So mine came into, look, here's the Tulane right here. So Dylan beat us first. Like, Dylan got all of his stuff before Chris and I did, and Chris and I literally got ours in the mail yesterday, and we didn't know if it would be like in a box or if they would put it in the mailbox. And then, as Chris said, we were worried there for about a 20-minute window that somebody might have potentially been a porch pirate, but that didn't happen. So thankfully Chris got the stuff that he ordered. So what do you need to know about HOMEFIELD Apparel? Website, homefieldapparel.com, based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. This is the perfect time to go to their website and check it out because you got March Madness days away. SEC baseball starts this weekend. So whoever your favorite team is, go to homefieldapparel.com, look into what they have. Just vintage, awesome stuff. Like, I'm not a Tulane fan by any means, but I love going to New Orleans, and to me, Tulane has one of the best logos in the business. And it's like, do I want a Tulane shirt? You better believe I want a Tulane shirt from HOMEFIELD Apparel, just like Chris and his Gonzaga hoodie. So I got my Gonzaga HOMEFIELD shirt behind me somewhere. So their stuff is phenomenal. So you definitely need to check it out.
Yeah, I'm not a Gonzaga fan, but I saw this, and I'm like, I've got to have that. And I'm also not a porch pirate, but their stuff is so good, it could almost tempt me to become one.
Oh, so you would break the law for HOMEFIELD Apparel.
I'm not breaking the law for anybody. If I can help it. I might have done a little over the speed limit getting to the basketball tournament yesterday. So I can't say I'm perfect, but I'm not a thief. But like, if something were to make me become a thief, it might be HOMEFIELD Apparel. Their stuff's just that good.
They should slap that on the website.
They should.
Like Chris Lee on the bottom of it.
not a thief, but I might be for HOMEFIELD Apparel stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it is gorgeous. We both got all kinds of shirts we're going to be wearing, and this is just the start of it. So welcome in, everybody. Welcome to our friend Jim in Arlington. Good to see you here, sir. And we'll be talking about your Sooners, who have a big series against A&M. And again, everybody else who's got a series this weekend. Here's the order that we're going to go in. Kind of in order of what I think is maybe most to least interesting series. That's very, very debatable because, man, I think all these are kind of interesting in their own right. But we got Mississippi State going to Arkansas, Ole Miss traveling to Texas, A&M going to Oklahoma, Tennessee going to Athens to face Georgia, LSU coming to my Nashville to face Vanderbilt, Alabama traveling to Kentucky, Auburn going to Missouri, and South Carolina going to Florida. I believe those are the correct home road destinations. If I, by chance, mix one of those up, please let me know. We serve to be right here and would happily correct the record, but that's the way that I had it in my notes. So, Graham, without any further chatting, let's get right into Mississippi State at Arkansas. I think this is a dandy of the series. I think Mississippi State has been the more consistent team, but man, Arkansas's top end pitching, I know they're struggling. I get that they lost 2 of 4 to Stetson, they have been amazing on the mound with their top end arms.
They really have, and that to me, that's what makes this series so fascinating. You got the Arkansas pitching, that pitching staff, that bullpen against like a top 3 offense in the country in Mississippi State. So something's got to give, right? Is this offense just going to continue to just mow people over, or is this Arkansas pitching staff, going to be able to limit them just enough? So to me, this is so fascinating. Can't wait to watch this one. The SEC debut of one Brian O'Connor.
Yeah. I think to me, I'm watching. I mean, I'm always watching pitching. You know that. I want to see, can Ryan McPherson, Thomas Valencius, and Duke Stone, who I presume will be their 3. Do we have rotations yet, by the way? Have those been announced for the weekend?
Nothing as of 9:10 Thursday morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Friday starters at D1 just to see if they posted theirs yet. And we don't have injury reports either, do we?
Yeah, not as of this morning. They're gonna come out. I forget the time frame and the timeline of when they do it, but it starts the day before. So obviously, like, we're knocking on the door of that, and then the last one heading into the series will come out like an hour before first pitch tomorrow, before all the games start.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes. So we're a little lacking in information for when we're doing it. Of course, we are kind of keeping an eye on who's been in and out at different points, but I think the thing that's the recurring theme with State is the hitting has just been so good. Noah Sullivan has been red hot. And I don't know when the last time Ace Reese had a bad weekend would have been. Garrick Fry has come up big for them in spots. I think they're a little bit more lefty dominated on the whole, especially if you consider Fry, who can hit lefty because he's a switch hitter. So I don't know how that plays. But, again, they have so many platoon guys. You're looking at a team that I think we thought going into the season had maybe 16 hitters who could play every day. I think they're using a dozen guys pretty regularly at this point. Maybe actually it's closer to 14. So you have platoon options for Mississippi State. The lineup may look a little different every time out. Arkansas, the top end guys for them in terms of their pitching. Fisher's a lefty, Dietz is a lefty, Gackle is a righty, and Gibbler, who gets used in tandem with Gackle a lot, is a lefty. So they got out of the pen. McIlvain is their top lefty. He's been better. He's been throwing strikes. Most of their other guys, except for Parker Coyle, are righties. So there's some information, because I think the most interesting part of it is when State is hitting against Arkansas. The best part of that team is that top end of the pitching, and that also meets the best part of State, which is not just the hitting, but the ways they can mix and match with you.
Yeah, that's where to me, that's where the depth comes in for Mississippi State. If it does get in a spot where, like, if Arkansas makes a pitching change for a matchup, and let's say they bring in a lefty, well, State, they got so many options. They can make a move too. I was looking it up. By the way, you mentioned Noah Sullivan. I thought he was going to be in contention for SEC Player of the Week. He didn't get it. Daniel Jackson, who's been playing out of his mind, and then Ethan Hindle for Kentucky were the Players of the Week. Thought definitely Sullivan had a case.
I did too.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest thing you're looking forward to, like, in this matchup this weekend between these two?
I just think it's, how does Arkansas's pitching handle that lineup? Because again, Arkansas has been elite, but they haven't seen a team like this. And I don't know that much of anybody's going to see a team that can mix and match and pinch hit and do all the things that they can do. I think too, Arkansas defends so well. We haven't really talked about it. Some of the balls that State's putting in play, They're going for hits, may not as much against their defense. You got, an elite guy behind the plate and Ryder Helfrich, who can really control the running game. That's not a huge part of what State does, but they have stolen 29 bases. State doesn't strike out a ton. They walk a lot, but Arkansas doesn't give you a lot of freebies. I just think it's that strength on strength that I just really, really am fascinated to see how that pans out.
You mentioned the defense. Would you be surprised if State has the better defense than Arkansas at this point? State?
You mean according to fielding percentage?
Well, and then like fewest amount of errors, fewest stolen bases, like allowed, all that stuff. State's 4th, Arkansas's 11th.
Yeah. Well, let me give you another stat. Batting average on balls in play, 356 against State. That's the worst. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong column. 321. It's not the worst, but is the second worst behind LSU. Arkansas at 267 leads the league. Now, some of that is just are guys hitting rockets or numbers off the bat that find places. But over time, Arkansas is doing the best job in the league of turning batted balls into outs. So,
yeah. Another thing I want to touch on with this series, did by chance, did you see Dave Van Horn's like post-game press conference after the Stetson series?
No, I guess I wish I had now.
Man, look, I've never been in the room with a man, like had a conversation with him one-on-one, anything like that. But I respect him, and I just like what he has built and the way that he goes about it. He strikes me as somebody that doesn't put up with BS a lot. Like it's his way. Like you got to respect his way and respect the game of baseball. His post-game press conference, I don't know if he's trying to rally the troops up because he knows that he's got Mississippi State this weekend, but he was basically discussing, he brought up all the newcomers. He said, I don't care if you're a freshman or if you're new, like transferred in. He's like, all these newcomers have to figure out and learn quickly, and I mean quickly, how we do things here at Arkansas.
Wow.
And I mean, the look on his face, the tone in his voice, you could tell like something has been going on that he hasn't been pleased with. And I think he's just trying to kind of set the tone, not only for this weekend, but the rest of the way, especially once SEC play really gets going. That caught my attention.
Yeah, and you asked me, what are you looking forward to in this series the most? I'm going to turn the tables on you and ask you the same.
We touched on this last year, so I love when you kind of get like a clash of styles or just two team strengths, and their strengths are just the opposite of what the other one is good at. So just the matchup, the pitching matchup for Arkansas, and then the offensive lineup for Mississippi State. Again, State, they hit 354 as a team, which is just a ridiculous number. They lead the league in doubles by a pretty considerable margin. They're now up to 32 stolen bases. You mentioned the 32 stolen bases, like that's above average in the SEC. I don't know, is it going to be one of those days where like State's just cruising and everybody is getting hits and it's contagious, or can Arkansas find a way to, like scatter 6 hits but only give up like 3 runs or less? Can they do something like that? I think it's huge for the Hogs that this is in Fayetteville. If this was in Starkville, like that place would be rocking this weekend.
Yeah,
because look, their men's basketball team lost on Wednesday in the SEC tournament. So like they are now all in on baseball, which they kind of have been for a while now. But to me, that's what I'm going to keep an eye on. And then, O'Connor, just the way that he handles this moment, because this is a little different now than, going to play Boston College or like Pitt, in the ACC, something like that. You're going to one of the best ballparks, great crowd in Fayetteville, and he will get the full taste of the SEC like right off the bat.
State's been away from Starkville for the Arlington series. Have they played at Southern Miss already? Is that correct?
Yeah, they played in Hattiesburg, as has Ole
Okay.
Miss already.
Okay. So they you can't say that they haven't been outside of Starkville yet.
Yeah, but they have only left the state of Mississippi once, though, if that matters. So this will be like their first, time to leave the state of Mississippi for like a true road game.
Okay. And let's see, they went 1-2 or excuse me, 2-1 in Arlington and lost the one to UCLA, which a lot of people are going to do. I want to see, didn't they lose that Southern Miss game too?
They did.
Yeah, I mean, and no shame in that. Southern Miss is I don't know where they're ranked, but a top 10,
Their
top 5 team.
Southern's RPI is number 1 in the country.
Yeah, they played some teams, and both of those were one-run losses. Man, let's just get the picks. I've gone back and forth in my head on this one. I came in going Arkansas. I'm going to make it State my pick 2-1 just because of the stuff Van Horn said. That indicates to me a team that's not maybe settled, which I don't think is a problem for Mississippi State.
Yeah. I think all of these games are going to be remarkably close, highly entertaining, back and forth. I'm going to roll with Mississippi State. I think they're going to be able to go on the road and take 2 out of 3 in an electric weekend series in Fayetteville. Can't wait to watch it.
I circled this as the top series for a reason. I just thought I was literally leaning Arkansas coming into this, but the more I talked through it, I was like, I don't know. I feel more comfortable in State being solid right now than I do Arkansas. Arkansas is a really good team, and I think better than the record, but there are some deficiencies with the hitting.
Well, here's a question we haven't touched on. Like, let's say it gets into like a shootout. Do you trust Arkansas's lineup to keep up with Mississippi State's?
I trust a third of it.
But that's what makes State so good. 1 through 9 for them is just ridiculous.
No, that's a good question. And you know me, I'm always thinking in terms of pitching and defense and run prevention first, but that is the other part of it. And I think that's my hesitation to go with Arkansas. So I'm going with State. Let's talk Ole Miss and Texas. I think this is a fantastic series. If you've not been paying attention, Ole Miss's pitching has been off to the best start that I've seen in I don't know how long. Led with 2 really frontline guys at the top, and then meanwhile Texas has just been phenomenal at everything.
Yeah, this is what a week for Ole Miss. Like, you play Southern Miss and Hattiesburg, and then you get Texas and Austin. So this is a huge like measuring stick week for Ole Miss. Like, to me, the fact that this is in Austin is huge. To me, Texas is the most complete team in the league, like on all aspects and all phases. What's this Ole Miss offense look like? Are they able to do what they do? Are they able to hit runs or hit home runs? And be able to get enough as opposed to like solo shots. Like in the Southern Miss game this week, Ole Miss got a home run, but it was a solo home run. So like, the Achilles heel for a lot of these games is Ole Miss hasn't been able to get that timely base hit with runners in scoring position. If Ole Miss wants to have success this weekend, you're going to have to get a big hit here or there with runners in scoring position or runners on base, like as opposed to just leaning on the home run. So it's going to be a really fascinating series. I can't remember a time Ole Miss has ever played at Texas in baseball. This might be the first time ever. Nobody has their game notes up yet, so I was trying to pull that up. But I could see all 3 of these games like being, relatively low scoring just because the pitching for Ole Miss has been so phenomenal up to this point, and we know Texas, what they've looked like on the mound. I don't envision this one being like high scoring at all.
Yeah. I'm kind of that way too with this one. I am looking. I think Texas will go probably Riojas. Did they go Luke Harrison last weekend, and then Volantis? Is that how they went?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so that would be righty, lefty, lefty. The key lefties out of the pen are Higgins and Walker. And Ole Miss is pretty lefty heavy in that lineup. Udemark is, maybe their best guy. He's righty. Colin Reuter has had a really nice season, and we pointed out the other day. So he's a righty. And Austin Foley, who just can't get going, is a righty. Federico's a switch hitter. Excuse me. So all that to say that, like, starting the game, like how long those lefties go for Texas, which they're certainly more than capable, is gonna be interesting against a predominantly left-handed Ole Miss lineup.
Yeah. I am curious how much, if any, is Ole Miss going to shake things up with the lineup. Like you mentioned, Colin Reuter. Is he going to catch any of these games this weekend? Like Foley, he hit the 20 home runs a season ago, but it's been a slow start offensively for him. Now he's better defensively, which is why he's been out there catching. When you look at the Ole Miss coaching staff, all but one of the assistant coaches were catchers. So that's kind of a spot like you kind of have to earn it if you want to catch at Ole Miss, just because with all the coaches, including the head coach being a former catcher himself. So really, really, really intriguing series. To me, like Ole Miss is going to have to play like their A+ game to have success, especially defensively. You can't just keep shooting yourself in the over and over this weekend if you want to try to take 2 out of 3 in Austin.
On the other hand, they got a guy in Elliott who's leading it off, who knows how to pitch. Now the walks, have always been an issue for them or for him. They've kind of gone up, and Texas is a team that takes a ton of free passes, so I don't like that from an Ole Miss standpoint. I'm very interested to see Kincaid Townsend shove the way that he's done so far. He's been, as I said, he's almost, in terms of out of the gate, he's not quite what Liam Doyle was a year ago, but he's been in that territory.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss's bullpen, I think, has been better than maybe I anticipated. Will Libbert has been fair in that 3 role. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a team with, right now, these are both 2 regional teams. Who do we think is going to take it at the end of the weekend, though?
Well, I think the way Texas has been playing, and just the fact that this is in Austin, I kind of give the edge to Texas. I think they're going to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to. But again, I put this number 2 on the list of series as I ranked them, because I think Ole Miss is good enough to go in there and win the series. I think the matchup, I think Elliott's got to start throwing more strikes, because Texas is a team that can really make you pay as much as anybody. And that's kind of my hesitation. Also, Riojas has been, I said that Townsend's been down. Riojas has been the most dominant starter in the league so far, I think. He's striking out 51% of hitters, which is unbelievable.
Numbers certainly show it. And by the way, for a Sunday pitching matchup, this might be one of the better Sunday matchups on the mound that we'll see this weekend.
Yeah. The Texas bullpen has started to leak just a hair. It's only noticeable because they've been just so perfect in everything so far. And Volantis hasn't been quite. I do wonder if Volantis can hold up against the grind of 6 inning starts after being a short reliever a year ago. We're about to find out, but I just can't bet. There's nobody who could go into Texas this weekend that I would pick to beat the Longhorns.
Yeah, I'm like, can you envision anybody going into Austin and winning a series at this point?
I mean, maybe UCLA, but I wouldn't even pick them. I mean, I think if Ole Miss, though, can go in and be competitive, and I do think they can take a game. And I think if you do that, and all of them are close, you walk that as Ole Miss feeling great about what you're doing.
Yeah, without question. And it's because of the pitching. Like we've touched on the starters, but Calhoun, Hooks, those are two of the top arms out of the bullpen. Like that's kind of what makes Ole Miss really, really tough to beat.
All right, so we're on the same page with that one. Let's talk about Texas A&M and Oklahoma. I think another super fascinating series with two teams that have exceeded what most people thought they do coming into the season. You start us off. What has caught your eye with this one?
I think, boy, when you look at Oklahoma, uh, to me, they just passed the eye test. Like one of the best surprises in the SEC up to this point. They're 15-2 coming into this one. It feels like they're a little bit better on the mound than where they are offensively. Now they're 8th in the conference in offense. I think when you look at them on the mound, uh, like 182 strikeouts to just 54 walks. That's as a staff. Opponents are only hitting 196 against Oklahoma pitching. That's kind of the difference. And then just the fact that this series is in Norman, like I like that for the Sooners and just their style of play. I haven't looked at the weather. I don't know what the weather is going to be like. But just the fact that Oklahoma, remember, they also lead the country or the SEC rather in stolen bases. They almost got 60. It's really them and Kentucky, 1 and 2 in the league in that area. So I like Oklahoma just from the fact that number one, it's at home, and I trust their pitching more than what I do for Texas A&M.
Okay, let me check my facts here before I give them to you. But the thing that makes this super fascinating to me, Oklahoma is taking more walks than any team in the conference. Their hitters are walking over 18% of the time, which is just beyond elite. And they're only striking out 19% of the time. So they're walking almost as much as they strike out. A&M, on the other hand, the pitching staff has been about as good as there is in the league at keeping guys off base. They don't strike out a ton of guys. They're over 25% as a staff, but they're under 7% in terms of walks and hit batsmen, which is by a couple of points the best rate in the league. So it's that thing of like you've got the team in the league that's the best at getting on base against the pitching staff that is the best at keeping your guys off base through free passes.
Mm-hmm. If I pulled it up, Oklahoma, they're 5th in the country in walks, by the way. The top 3 are ACC teams. How about that? And then you got Mercer in there, and they're also, you touched on hit by pitch. They're towards the top in that as well. Jim in Arlington, he's mentioning it in the chat. He also tagged us on social media. That was a good point. I totally forgot about that, Jim. Remembering when the A&M job came open, I guess a couple years now.
Yeah.
They went to Skip Johnson and, wanted to pick his brain, see how much he'd be interested. Remember, Skip is from Texas now. And so he was definitely in the mix there and then decided to stay at Oklahoma, as Jim says in the chat, after Oklahoma assured him they would help him out facility-wise. So I totally forgot about that. That is interesting. And it's the first time these two teams have played each other in a while. First time since Oklahoma's been in the SEC, but also first time since 2022.
Yeah. A little bit of a contrast in styles offensively, because Oklahoma is going to run. They'll hit for a little bit of power, but not a ton. A&M is actually pretty balanced. They run a little bit more. Or they've stolen 22 times. They've hit 32 home runs. That's also a very patient lineup. One concern I do have with Oklahoma is they are putting a few guys on base, but they keep it in the park and they keep it on the ground a little bit more than they do in the air. I mean, I think this is a really, really even matchup here, man.
I do. I do mainly because A&M, their offense has been very legit up to this point. So
Yeah.
you got to think at least one of these games, they're just going to be able to get things going their way. Hitting 344 as a team coming into this one. And they're above average and really everything when you look at it and break it down. So A&M, I would say they've been a really pleasant surprise. They have certainly bounced back from what they looked like a season ago. And again, we're doing this before the availability report. So hopefully Hakopian will be back sooner rather than later for Texas A&M.
Yeah, A&M's lineup is Dewar and Sorello, they're top hitting lefties. Most of the other guys are righties. Farr's a platoon guy, can switch hits. So you're going to looking at probably A&M's going to have a little bit of platoon advantage in this, given that Oklahoma, two of their top three starters, Johnson and Rager are lefties. So that's interesting too.
Carson Jones in the chat says Hakopian and Wesley Jordan are scheduled to be back this weekend.
Oh, good.
That's huge.
Okay. Oh, man.
So it's like, what do you trust more? Is it the Oklahoma pitching or the A&M offense? And then how much
the Oklahoma offense too?
Yeah,
that's why I'm having a problem here. I mean, you got LJ. Yeah, we keep talking about this best pitcher in the league discussion. LJ Mercurius would like a word here too, right? I mean,
right.
Gosh, this one is almost impossible. I am going to look this up. I want to see what A&M has done in terms of base. Okay, they've thrown out – opponents have only stolen 10 of 15 times. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't think you just completely shut down Oklahoma's running game.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been pretty tough in terms of doing that. So this one is it's almost flip a coin for me.
Yeah. It really is. Like, how much stock do you put into this series is in Norman and not College Station?
I think I'm going to cop out, take the easy way, and say I'm going to go with the home team because I just can't make up my mind. So
yeah, Jim said
Oklahoma will be my pick.
He said it's sold out, standing room only left.
Good, that's great. I love to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. This might be one of the most difficult selections of any series this weekend. Just like you said, flip a coin. I would be good with it either way. I'm going to pick Oklahoma just because they're at home.
Yeah, so we're even. I think we've gone the same way, and we've gone. I'm going to go 2-1. I don't think Oklahoma gets a sweep.
Yeah, like I don't envision a lot of sweeps one way or the other in any series this weekend.
I don't either. Let's talk about the next one. Let's go Tennessee and Georgia. This one also interesting. Georgia just hit the cover off the ball. Tennessee pitching has been quietly really, really good. That they've had some defensive breakdowns that have cost them, and the balls seem to just kind of cluster runners at the wrong time and have lost some close ones. But I mean, Tegan Coons, Landon Mack, Evan Blanco been pretty good, especially the first two. And I'm interested to see what the Vols can do in terms of holding down a Georgia team that's just hitting home runs like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, I just looked it up. They've hit 20 more home runs Georgia has than the next closest team. Isn't that wild? 20 more.
In the league or nationally?
In the country.
Is Vandy number 2?
Vandy is number 2.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jackson has got 14. I wonder how many teams he's out-homered by himself. And Jackson's been so good, we haven't talked about Brennan Hudson, who's hit 10.
Hold on, I want to answer one of your questions. How many more teams Jackson has hit more home runs than? I got it right here. 136. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
So he's got more home runs than 136 Division I teams in the country.
And we're 17 or 18 games into this thing.
Yeah.
Texas Rocks is asking if they're playing in that Little League park in Athens. They are playing in Athens. That's what I call the Little League park. It is short to right, but to left it's not, but the ball gets out anyway.
Yeah. I guess my question in this series, like Tennessee offensively, they are third to last in the SEC. Do you think that this Tennessee offense can keep up with Georgia? Because Georgia, again, this is in Athens. They have played out of Athens once already, just one time, and they just went an hour down the road to Kennesaw State. I like what Georgia's been able to do to people, just like putting football scores up on the video board. Yeah. I mean, that's my question in this series. Can Tennessee keep up?
Well, I mean, you've set a high bar there. So the easy answer would be no. I do think there's more in the tank for that offense. I would have never imagined Levi Clark would be this bad. He's hitting a $135. I mean, that's got to change by happy accident at some point. Tyler Myatt's a guy that I think can help them. He's been just okay. I look up and down that lineup, and nobody other than Ford is really raking. No, Blaine Brown is super talented. He's capable of it. I think they're all capable of it, but it just isn't coming for them so far.
No. Why do you think that is? Like, is it kind of what we saw with A&M last year with Early? Like, Elander, he's wearing a lot of hats now as opposed to just like focusing on one thing.
I mean, let's look at the lineup. How many guys were regular parts of what they did a year ago? I think Reese Chapman is your list, right? I mean, they had other guys that played. Clark was a part-timer. Newstrom played some. Manny Marin played some. Ariel Antigua played some. He's more of a defensive replacement than he is a full-time shortstop. But I think that might be your answer. Garrett Wright's also been hurt. Now he's hit super well since he's come back, so maybe they get a boost there. But I mean, look, you ask me that question with anybody, it's almost a no contest.
Yeah. I'm like, the more I just look at the numbers, like I'm leaning Georgia, not only for the home runs, but they're top 10 in the country in walks. So like, let's say if two guys walk and then, a home run, boom, you're down by 3 right out of the gates already. So, and one thing we haven't touched on yet, Georgia, at least on paper, they got the best defense in the league. They've only committed 5 errors this season, 5. So their defense has been a big part of their success too. And remember, they might be getting Kenny Ishikawa back.
I was going to ask. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've got to go Georgia here, right? I mean, am I shocked if Tennessee comes in and wins the series? No, because of the way that they can pitch. But they just have had troubles closing series.
Yeah.
Against teams that are not, against some teams that are decent. I don't think Kent State and Wright State are bad baseball teams, but they're not Georgia. Yeah. And Tennessee has not played a road series yet either. Of course, not a lot of teams in the conference have outside of Kentucky and Missouri, but so
I just think Georgia's going to be too much in Athens.
I do, but we'll both take. I'm going to take Tennessee to get a game. Are you?
Yeah, I'll say 2 out of 3 for Georgia to win the series.
Let's take a couple minutes to thank the people who help our channel, starting with ROKFORM. They make the world's strongest magnetic phone case. They are the phone case from my phone. I've got a vent clip that I use for my car that I just stick that on, throw the phone onto that, and it's in front of my face for use for maps or whatever. And I just love their stuff.
I do too. What are they known for? This right here, this magnet. It's a sturdy case. It's going to last forever. Different colors, different styles. They got you covered if you're an Apple iPhone person or Samsung Galaxy. ROKFORM, they've been with us for a while, and I've been a fan for a long time, just because you never have to sweat or worry about really anything happening to your phone. If you drop it, even if it gets in the water, ROKFORM, their phone cases are outstanding. And then if you travel a lot like I do, or if you just want like a mount driving around town or whatever, their mounts in their to put your phone on in your vehicle is outstanding. And then they make excellent speakers too. Like if you play golf a lot or just spend a lot of time outside and want a set of speakers, ROKFORM has got you covered.
Yeah, SEC25 at rockform.com, ROKFORM, get you 25% off your entire order. Dropped my phone last week in the middle of the road. It was like nothing ever happened because their cases are just that good. Speaking of quality, man, I wore my in-collar stuff to the SEC basketball tournament yesterday, was comfortable the whole day in their pants and their shirts. They are my new favorite dressed casual clothing. You turned me on to them, and man, I'm glad you did, Graham.
Yeah, been a major fan of and collar for a while now. Wrinkle free, stain free. That's what they're known for their clothing, either button down shirts, pants, and it's just outstanding stuff. They also make ties. They're in the quarter zip game now. Their spring line is about to launch. I'll keep you updated on that when all their stuff for the spring comes out. But business casual, or if you need it dressed in the nines for whatever occasion, and collar, makes phenomenal stuff, and they're affordably priced. Promo code for them, SEC 16 for 16% off.
Yeah, you could pay full price and still be thrilled, but it gets even better with that code. I mean, their clothes are fantastic. I'm going to end up ordering more as we get into spring because I like them so much, and you will too. You'll also like your Icon wallet if you get that. I got one of those again, Graham, one of those things you turned me on to. Their stuff is terrific. My wallet is half the size of the one I had before, and it holds everything and holds it better than my old one did.
Yeah, different styles, different colors. Here are a couple of different ones right here. This is what they're known for right here. It's magnet. You can pick out your favorite team, or if you want a glory like this, I got a Navy and an Army, golf ones, whatever the case may be that you're looking for. But father-son company, the product is good. They've been in business really not that long, about half a decade, and everybody has a wallet, right? So it just looks good. You barely feel it in your pocket, and it's just going to last forever. And this one's my favorite right here. Put all your cards, hit the button, and boom, all the cards pop up.
Yep.
Right there, just to make it easy for you, so you don't have to go diving deep in your wallet. But definitely check them out. That's Icon Wallets. Icon-wallets.com is the website.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so easy to get stuff. They've got pockets for cash that hold it easily, and just all kinds of things. And you will love your Icon wallet. You just gave the promo code, right?
It is SEC 16 for 25% off. It's either 20 and 25% off. Either way,
and don't forget and don't forget the dash on Icon wallets. It's icon-wallets.com, so you can get where you need to go. New one for us, ZILKER belts. I'm gonna send an order on the way to them. Excited to get their stuff. I could use a couple new belts, and man, they've got some nice ones. Oreo's getting a new dog collar and a new leash out of them as soon as I put in the order. We're very excited to have these guys too.
Yeah, since we recorded, I got the email that all my stuff is shipped and it's on the way. So excited, looking forward to that. So ZILKER belts, based out of the great state of Texas. It's 2 SEC grads. One went to Florida, one went to Texas. And this company has just been dynamite. They're growing fast. They're growing quickly. They're SEC fans, and they make really, really good products. So whatever your favorite team is, you can go on their website and your favorite team, like let's say you're an A&M fan, Auburn, whatever, they're gonna have belts with your school's colors on them. So like I have had the Land Shark belt. I wear it when I broadcast Ole Miss games. So I've been a fan for a while. You mentioned the dog stuff, Chris. That their dog accessories are great. They make dog collars, dog leashes. If you're a bolo tie guy, like when I think of bolo ties, it's like Phillip Rivers and then Chris Lee. They make bolo ties, and if you want a bolo tie as well, and they make hats. So they make all kinds of great stuff. They're known for their belts. They look good. They're going to last forever.
That's the first and only time in the history of the world that sentence will ever be uttered.
Hey, you live in a part of the country where there are probably a decent amount of bolo ties.
There probably are. You know how much I get out though?
All the time. What are you
my getting out is going to kids' sporting
events. You were on Broadway last night, were you not?
True. I mean, to walk from the garage to the arena. I mean, come on. You know the kind of life I live.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there.
It make watching paint dry exciting. So, anyway, Randy says he's got ROKFORM speakers. They're legit. I can't wait. I'm hoping I'm going to get one soon. So anyway, yeah, thank you to our sponsors. Not only help out those who help our show, you're going to love their products. I mean, we use them. They are fantastic. And you're going to agree with us when you get them too. So
and by the way, before we dive into the next series, I Googled it. So 6 days ago, Wes Johnson said Kenny Ishikawa is going to be back for Tennessee. Now that was 6 days ago. He said he was ahead of schedule. They're trying to figure out if he's going to pitch this weekend or if he's just going to hit. We'll see. But the good news for Georgia is like he's back finally.
It was a cracked bone in a foot, right?
A hairline fracture.
Yeah. Okay.
Which you never know how those are going to go.
Yeah.
Like everybody responds to those differently. Not everybody can be Jason Tatum where you tear your Achilles and then come back and play. Like
I wonder which foot it was.
Later.
Like if it's your back foot, on pitching wise, I would think that'd be a little easier to deal with than your landing foot.
Hold on, let me see. Let me see if it clarifies.
But if you're running a lot, I think that will be tougher because you can't run, right? I mean, if you break a foot, you're not. I mean, I guess you can do cardio on a bike or something, but.
I'm not seeing anything on
okay.
Foot. I guess I guess it would hurt more. Yeah, offensively.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're just guessing on that one, but let's see. Who are we going to now? Oh, LSU and Vandy. That's the one I'll see here. I think those are two pretty evenly matched teams. I think a lot of the problems are the same. The offense can go dormant for spells, but they're both really talented lineups. LSU is more talented pitching wise and striking more guys out. But LSU is also having a problem with putting runners on through walks and hit batsmen. Vanderbilt is having a worse problem with that. And frankly, I think one of the concerns, if Vanderbilt doesn't have Austin Nye back this weekend and Tim Corbin was iffy on whether he'd be back, that's a big blow to Vandy. And especially for a team that's got one lefty who's thrown all year.
Yeah.
And LSU's got a lot of lefties, and it is now a short porch in right in Nashville, and the ball has been flying out of that yard. Most of the time, when it's colder and damper, it has stayed in a little bit more. That's a park where it really carries differently on different days. But these are two teams that I think desperately need to get a series win. I think the one that comes out of it is going to feel great about things. The one that doesn't, I think, especially if it's Vanderbilt, is going to be really behind the eight ball.
That's my question for this series is like whoever drops this series, it just feels like there's going to be a lot of noise and chatter.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Especially if one team gets swept.
Yeah. And it's like, is that team going to be able to overcome that? Really, right when we get going. Every series that we look at, I'm always trying to think like, what do I trust more in this matchup? In this series, it's like, I don't know. Like for LSU, they just been hot and cold in so many
Yeah.
different phases. Sometimes the pitching is great. Sometimes it's the offense. They just haven't really been able to be consistent. You know, I was watching their midweek the other day, and I saw some of this chatter online. It seems like Jay Johnson is getting to the point where like he's trying to set the tone. Like he's really starting to rip into guys. Like he ripped into York the other day. Like York was just kind of chirping at the home plate umpire a little bit, not really liking the zone, balls and strikes and all that. And like Jay Johnson, you could tell he was like, man, just go play. Like quit chirping, quit talking to the umpires, you know, that kind of a thing. So I think Jay's just trying to figure out, you know, what exactly he has to work with and who he trusts right now. Maybe who has to earn his trust moving forward. I guess when I look at this matchup, I got fewer question marks about LSU than I do Vandy. There's just so many questions about Vanderbilt. Like if this was in Baton Rouge, like I would take LSU and feel pretty good about it. The fact that it's in Nashville, I think, helps the Commodores. But like I'm picking LSU. I don't feel great about it, but I just think the Tigers, they got talent, and if they just are able to have one of these weekends where they just click and put everything together, just give me LSU.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought I would have been saying this before the season, but offensively, batting average, Vanderbilt 318, LSU 291. On base percentage, Vanderbilt 433, LSU 420. Slugging, Vandy 624, LSU 520. Homers, Vandy 44, LSU 29. Steals, Vandy 20, LSU 12. And as much trouble as LSU's had with pitching, they're striking out more guys. They're walking fewer guys. They're keeping the ball in the park more. Now, I think Vanderbilt has played a tougher schedule than LSU. I don't think the strength of schedule numbers really reflect what Vanderbilt's played. I mean, they have played 2 weekends against regional caliber opponents so far, for the most part. So I think they're getting bogged down a little bit by maybe a couple of really teams that are sinking them on the schedule. But anyway, I think the thing is, what do you trust more? I think right now I like LSU's rotation more, even though it has struggled a little bit. With Moore, Schmidt, and Evans. Then Vanderbilt's going to throw, I guess, Fennell, probably Wyatt Nadeau, who's a freshman, who's got great stuff, but he's a freshman. And then Nate Taylor, who's been struggling. And LSU's bullpen, as bad as it's been, I think they got more good options.
What do you make of LSU? They lead the league in strikeouts pitching wise, but they got the worst ERA. Their ERA is almost 5. Or
I don't think their defense has been that good.
Say it again.
I don't think their defense has been great.
Yeah, they got the second worst defense. Only South Carolina has committed more errors than LSU.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's is pretty good, but they're having some issues with Holcomb in center right now.
Vandy's top 5 defensively.
Yeah. Well, and they also, we'll see if they get Colin Barcy back with 3 homers on opening day and has barely played since because of an injury. So they're having to catch a freshman full time. That would help them too. But I'm with you. I'm taking LSU. There's just a little bit more to believe in right now. And the vibes in that park right now are just not good. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if LSU had a louder crowd this weekend in Nashville than Vanderbilt does.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because of the basketball tournament or what?
Because it's LSU. And I mean, maybe basketball too. Although I didn't see a lot of LSU fans yesterday in Nashville, but I mean, honestly, I think that fan base has gotten spoiled. It just sits on its hands and waits for something to happen and grumbles when it doesn't. So, it's a lot of things. I just feel the vibes here a little bit more with LSU, but could be wrong. I think it's almost if Vanderbilt gets Nye back and he throws effectively this weekend, that could be the thing that flips the series.
Yeah.
Because he's a first round arm if he's healthy.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're going all 3, right?
I think I'm going to try. I think I'm going to slip out of Bridgestone and go to the Friday game, and then probably do the same thing Saturday, and then Sunday the title game will be over before they first pitch. So I'll be
Yeah.
in the park. Looking forward to seeing it. All
So
right,
you'll get a
got
first-hand view of the crowd then.
yeah, 3
That
left.
that
Go ahead. Sorry.
surprises me that you think there'll be more LSU people
I don't
in
know
the
that there'll
game.
be more, but I think they'll make more noise. Vanderbilt's become a golf crowd for baseball.
Interesting.
Yeah. Alabama, Kentucky. I feel like every week when I do my power rankings, I've got them right next to each other, and
Same.
where they're, it may change week to week who I've got in front of the other. Kentucky's pitching has started to leak a little bit, which kind of concerns me. They're going to run a ton, as you know. The starting rotation wasn't good last weekend, which was a surprise. Alabama, I feel like every weekend has just been almost kind of the same team. The starting pitching has been pretty reliable other than Faye in week 1. The lineup hasn't been outstanding, but LeBron and Neal have been very, very good. And some of the lower part is hitting a little bit. Justin Osterhaus had a good weekend last weekend. Kentucky, though, is tricky. They're going to bunt and run and do all kinds of things that you don't see.
Yeah, that part without question. I'm looking at the numbers. Like they just got a weird stat line. They've struck out offensively the second most in the SEC, but then they also walk a ton. They got the second most walks of anybody in the league as well. Now their batting average, they're dead last, hitting 274. They steal more bases than you would think too. So we might
And
have
they've stolen 42 and been caught twice. That just
yeah.
kind of snuck up on me.
So I mean, this might be a weekend where like both of these teams are able to steal like a ton of bases, because Kentucky leads the SEC in stolen bases. They almost got 60.
Yeah.
Kentucky's just been more consistent offensively. Like, to me, now they're not going to hit a lot of home runs. They're going to be towards the bottom. They are dead last in the league in home runs. Alabama can hit the ball out of the ballpark. When I'm with you, like I have these two teams like side by side to each other in the standings, and when I look at that, I look at like who's the home team and then like who's got the better defense. So Kentucky has committed fewer errors than Alabama, but also Alabama has turned the second most double plays. Like if you look at that, so to me, this is a fascinating series. If this was in Tuscaloosa, I would probably take the Tide. The fact that this is in Kentucky makes this way more challenging to me. And remember, the Wildcats, Tyler Bell is back. Curious to see if he plays defense this weekend or if he's just going to be the DH, kind of like he was this past weekend. So, by the way, if he does play, you're looking at 2 shortstops that are going to be first round picks. So that would be a lot of fun to watch.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's tough. I like both of these coaches, what they're about, what they've been able to build their program. This is a big test pretty early for both of these teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at the weather. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Friday in Lexington, 59, low of 35. About the same Saturday. Sunday, it warms up to 71 with a low of 45. That, warmer day could favor Alabama a little bit. There's a little more pop in that lineup. I disagree with you about your statement that Kentucky's offense has been more consistent. It really hasn't. It's just kind of caught fire lately, but their pitching has kind of gone a little bit backwards too. So I am concerned about that a little bit. Now, I think it's one weekend. They could come out and Jelkin and Harris and Cleaver could shove again, and it would be what they did the first part of the year. But I'm with you. This is one of these. It's just like I'm going to take whoever's the home team in this, and I'm going Kentucky for that reason.
Yeah, and that's what I'll do too. But all these games are going to be close. Like I'd be blown away if somebody just takes it to the other team this weekend in this series.
Yeah, give me 2-1 in that too. All right, Auburn going to Missouri. Missouri's kind of been the surprise of the league so far, 15-2. In terms of runs per 27 outs, they are third, tied for third with A&M, right behind Mississippi State by about that much, and then Georgia leading the league. So the offense has been potent. The pitching has been good so far and was really good last week, and I think there's a little bit of noise in that's going to come down to earth a little bit. But you start looking at the pieces, though, and they've gotten good starts. They've got lengthy starts, and that's something we haven't become accustomed to seeing from Missouri in a while.
Yeah, they're. I was looking at their team ERA is second to last. Only LSU has a worse team ERA. I was high on the Auburn offense coming into this season. I still think they're going to be good, but like their power numbers aren't kind of what I was expecting. Now they're still like top half offensively in the SEC. And what makes them tough is they don't really strike out a lot. They just get on base. They have struck out the second fewest amount of times in the league. Missouri is the favorite there. Missouri has struck out the least amount of times of anybody in the SEC offensively. So that's interesting. I just think the difference in this one is like I think Auburn just has more dudes on the mound than what Missouri has. So
yeah,
if this is one of these series where it's like high scoring and back and forth, like I could see it. I just think Auburn has more to work with on the mound and then in their lineup 1 through 9.
Yeah, they haven't seen anything like Auburn's pitching.
Correct.
No, I think it's possible Missouri is much improved, but the schedule has been very, very light. I don't think there's anybody that would, I don't think there's a team Missouri's played that wouldn't finish last in the league. And look, I don't want to, just because Missouri hasn't played anybody doesn't mean they can't be good. I just kind of need to see it a little bit. You talked about Missouri not striking out a lot. Auburn staff strikes out a lot of guys. It does not put a lot of guys on base. This is look. I don't know what Missouri's going to be, but I'm pretty sure Auburn's elite, and so I'm going Tigers 2-1.
Same. I feel like it's like copy paste for our picks, but great minds think alike.
Yeah. Last one is South Carolina going to Florida. I'd really be interested in this one if this were in Founders Park. You know how big I've been on Florida, but I'm starting to see some concerns a little bit. The pitching wasn't very good last weekend. And I do think Carolina, again, is kind of sneakily pitched it well so far.
They have. That's if you're looking for bright spots for Carolina, like that's it. They have a dude on Friday nights and Gunther, and if he's able to stretch it, like if he's able to go 6, like that's huge for them. It's just Florida's way better offensively.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's up for debate at all. I know everybody's kind of like puzzled by what to make of Florida just after what happened this past weekend, dropping that series to High Point. I'm just gonna like my gut tells me it was just one of those weekends for Florida. Like,
yeah.
And that happens. This team is too talented for that to like consistently happen this season. And for Carolina, like again, I watched them a lot this past weekend against Princeton, and everything offensively for Carolina, it just feels like it's a very tall task. Like it just feels like it's so challenging and just a lot of work for them. I just think Florida has way too much to work with 1 through 9. So give me the Gators.
Do we know about Aiden King?
I will Google it again. As I just checked again, the availability report, it isn't posted. But
okay.
Let me check. Let me check on.
Did he throw? He did throw last weekend, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
So the only news with Aiden King is he was named to the National Pitcher of the Year award watch list.
As well he should be. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it would make a difference anyway with the way Florida can hit. The bottom part of that order is going to need to pick it up a little bit. I feel like Brendan Lawson is it's not fair to say he's carrying that offense because they got some other good hitters, but Jones, Serwick, all those guys. But yeah, I mean, give me Florida, especially in Gainesville.
Yeah, and King, by the way, still has yet to give up an earned run. So
yeah,
definitely give me the Gators.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat. Quinn, $1.99 says he thinks they could sweep Missouri. I think that's very much on the table. Congratulations to your Tigers, who I saw win in Nashville yesterday in hoops.
I think
I'll be heading to the arena shortly to see him play again.
Yeah, that was a big win for Auburn basketball for sure. So it feels like they are squarely on the bubble. If we're talking about sweeps of all the series this weekend, I think the candidates would be the Auburn, Missouri one, and then the one we just touched on, Florida, South Carolina. Yeah, I don't think there will be any sweeps, but if one was to happen, I think it's going to happen in one of those two.
Auburn would far away be my number one. Carolina's ability to pitch on Fridays, it really, I mean, I think it gets a little shaky by the time you get to Sunday. And Peterson has been a little up and down. So he's been more up than down, but you just don't ever know for sure. Now, again, is the lineup going to test him? I don't really know. It's just not one where they've got a lot of depth there. And they're also not walking a lot, which is where Florida tends to hurt itself a little bit. So,
yeah. Out of all the series, which one intrigues you the most this weekend?
State and I mean, I kind of did it in the order that I was intrigued by them. And again, the separation wasn't much. In fact, I probably should move up LSU and Vandy. I think I had them 4. I think that's a little bit more intriguing than that, just because I don't know what you're going to get out of each team.
As far as like on the field, entertainment-wise, product, it is Arkansas, Mississippi State. Like that. Yep. That's the best series. The one that I'm the most fascinated with, it's the LSU Vanderbilt one, just for the storylines.
Yeah.
Because like if that doesn't go LSU's way, that media, that beat, that fan base, like they would just start to get restless.
Well, and if you're Vanderbilt, which it's really restless, there's a path like if Fennell goes out and shoves and gets the win, if their bullpen pitches a little better, if they get Austin Nyback and he pitches like an ace and you win a couple and you win it in that fashion, then you feel a lot better. Yeah. It's not just the 2 wins, but you're going, okay, now with the way we are constructed, we have a shot. Because as they currently are, I don't think Vanderbilt's a regional team. But you get healthy pitching and you get some guys that have thrown strikes in the past to do that. It's a different conversation because they can really, really hit.
What's Vandy's streak making the regionals?
19. This is the longest in the country.
Jeez. The other thing, I meant to bring this up when we were talking about Tennessee, Georgia. You sent it to me. What did you make of Elander in the dugout with the cardboard cutout of Tony B?
I feel a little sorry for Josh Elander. I mean, it was an impossible bar to live up to. We had Josh on the show, really likable guy. People there seem to like, come on, let's tone it down a little bit with the with the comparisons and the talk. Let's give the guy a chance. I think Tennessee's got a solid team. No, the cutout thing was hilarious. It looked like he's in a big winter parka, Vitello, and I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it was the imagery of it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was funny, but then it also made me realize, like, boy, they might be looking for somebody like, what makes Tony Vitello so good? He is outstanding with people, and like he just seems to push all the right buttons. So he's not there anymore. And then the fact that they have a cardboard cutout of him and put him in the dugout to try to find motivation, it's like, is that good? If you're
I think we're having a conversation's different than the one that I think that was the guy that did that. That's a kind of a troll fake news account. That was not real.
Okay, that makes
That
me
was
feel better.
photoshopped in. I just thought it was really funny.
Yeah, that made me
Yeah.
feel better. You sent it
No.
to me, and I was like, "What in the world?"
Well,
Okay.
I forgot you don't know the account. That's there's some satire in there or whatever the word is. That's I didn't consider you didn't know that. So I just thought it was very funny.
Yeah, it was.
But it is a little representative of a sentiment there. So he was very popular, and it was going to be hard for anybody to replace. But anyway, I've got to run because I've got to get to the arena to do some hoops. But Graham enjoyed it, and we'll do a recap probably late on Friday night, and then at some point Sunday. I don't know how we're going to work that with basketball, but we'll figure something out. So way to figure out when we're going to go. Subscribe, enable your notifications. That costs you nothing. Follow us on our podcast destinations. And yeah, that's the plan. We'll be back next week, of course, with more power rankings and do this all over again. Anyway, thank you to our listeners and watchers. Thank you to Quinn for your super chats. Yeah, I think Missouri hasn't seen much like Auburn's pitching. We'll see how that goes. Thank you to our sponsors. Anyway, God bless you. Have a great weekend. For Graham Doty, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.